So what impact will the new Supreme Court have on the upcoming election? It's still the top topic people are throwing out there tonight. With Judge Amy Coney Barret on the bench now, the High Court now has a conservative majority. You know that. But joining me now to dig a little deeper is Kim Wehle. She's a constitutional law professor at the University of Baltimore. Hi, Kim. Good seeing you again. We've had a couple of decisions in which the new Justice Barret did not participate. What's that about?
Well, it's because these are basically emergency decisions that need to be made close to an election day. And she basically said, listen, I don't have time to read the briefs, to digest the briefs, to have my new clerks up to speed. So I'm just going to wait this one out. It was not on the basis of any conflict of interest. It was a timing thing.
She didn't recuse herself.
She didn't recuse herself. No, she just said, I'm new on the job. It's my first week. I'm not ready to weigh in on these important issues.
Okay, walk me through this next question, because a lot of people are on pins and needles because they're so afraid, I guess if you're a Democrat, that the court's going to intervene, and with this conservative majority that favors the president. Of course, Republicans might want this thing to end up before the courts. We've had some early indications of how the justices are looking at these elections. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, I think they got a ruling that Democrats will like. Wisconsin got a ruling that the Republicans will like. What's going on there?
So there are a couple of what we call doctrines, rules that are in play here. None of them are in the Constitution. So even conservative justices read stuff into the Constitution. The first one basically says don't make changes close to an election date because it's going to affect and confuse voters. And I think that's what happened most recently in the Pennsylvania case. The other doctrine that is really emerging from a conservative court says the only entity that can make changes to voting is the state legislature. So if a board of election comes in to try to change things for COVID, or if the Supreme Court of a state comes in under the state constitution to try to change things for COVID, I think the majority is going to say, nope, it's got to stay in the legislature. I think that's where things could potentially become haywire after the election if there are challenges to thin margins, votes in thin margins in purple states.
Where's the Chief Justice Roberts in all of this?
Well, Chief Justice Roberts is not a fan, frankly, of staunch fan of voting rights. He authored or was participated in some decisions that weren't good for voters. That being said, he cares a lot about the integrity of the Supreme Court, the legitimacy of the court. And what's happened with these last three appointments, in particular Coney Barret, is a lot of people, I think, legitimately are seeing it as a political arm of whatever party is in power. That's really bad for the court. So I think he's going to try to marshal some votes to seem neutral and appear neutral and hopefully rule in a way that reflects all Americans, not just conservatives and Republicans.
Okay, and Kim, I know you're going to keep watching this. Kim Wehle, constitutional lawyer and author. Thanks a lot, Kim.